What's going on, guys? Today we're talking about Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and why they should face off at WrestleMania. We're going to go over the past, the present and the future. So when it comes to Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, there's definitely a lot of parallels between them. With both superstars debuting in NXT, with Liv in 2015 and Rhea in 2017. With both of them having a large amount of experience on the former Black and Gold brand. With Morgan wrestling the likes of Ember Moon, Aaliyah and Bayley, with Rhea taking on the likes of Bianca Belair, Io Sky, as well as Aaliyah also. The current Women's World Champion would also go on a tear in NXT UK, becoming the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion in 2018, while Liv was making a name for herself as a member of the Riot Squad, with them having high-profile matches such as the 6-women's tag team match at Evolution against Natalya, Sasha Banks and Bayley, as well as Super Showdown 2018 against Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins, which didn't end too well for them. From there, we go to 2019, where Rhea would go on to have an exciting feud with Shayna Baszler, which actually ended with her becoming the new NXT Women's Champion, which was a massive deal at the time. While Liv Morgan would face the likes of Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey in early 2019, before going on to be featured in several vignettes in late 2019, before returning at Lana's wedding with Bobby Lashley, which was definitely something. Moving on, we headed to WrestleMania 36, which was definitely a show we won't forget. We had Drew McIntyre win the WWE title, Bray Wyatt and John Cena had a wrestling match, and we had Rhea Ripley defending her NXT Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair, which didn't end too well for the Nightmare, as she lost that very night. But someone who didn't lose was Liv Morgan, picking up a well-earned victory against a former Women's Champion in Natalya. However, fast forward 1 year later to WrestleMania 37, which again was an interesting show. We had Logan Paul stunned by Kevin Owens. That's some good foreshadowing. We had Roman Reigns do the infamous double stack pin, and we had Rhea Ripley defeating Asuka to become the new Raw Women's Champion. It was a surreal moment for the Aussie superstar, as 1 year removed from losing her title to Charlotte Flair, she was able to bounce back and once again reclaim the throne with a win. However, her soon-to-be tag team partner wasn't so lucky that night, as even though the recently reunited Riot Squad had a good showing against Tamina and Natalya, unfortunately it wasn't meant to be that night, as they were not victorious. 1 year later, we move on to the lead up to WrestleMania 38, where Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley decided to team together, facing off against the likes of Shayna Baszler and Natalya, as well as the women's tag team champions Queen Zelina and Carmella, which they even scored a victory over and were added to the multi-women tag team match on the grandest stage of them all. And the idea of them as a team was a great idea, because they were both fan favourites, so to see them join forces with Liv's speed and Rhea's strength, it was a good combination. Now, a lot of people thought that the newly formed team were going to become the new tag team women's champions, but again, it wasn't in the cards, as Sasha Banks and Naomi picked up the victory, which left many fans disappointed due to the popularity of the newly formed team. But it wasn't over yet, as they got another opportunity on the night after WrestleMania, with both teams giving it their all. However, in the end, it was Liv who ultimately took the pin for the team, with Rhea not being too happy about the defeat. But it all came ahead to the rematch against the tag team champions in again another great match, as even though Sasha Banks and Naomi defended their titles once again, this time it was Rhea who took the pinfall, and this was the breaking point for the team, as Rhea Ripley blindsided her now former tag team partner and gave her a riptide for good measure. This meant Rhea Ripley was now a heel. And again, this was something people enjoyed from her old days of NXT UK, that vicious streak. So from that point on, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley would go on to have several matches in WWE, with both superstars picking up big victories over one another, with them even having a big 6-man tag team match at Hell in a Cell 2022, with Rhea's recently joined group of the Judgment Day, against the recent pairing of Liv Morgan, Finn Balor and AJ Styles, with the Judgment Day reigning victorious. Throughout the rest of the year, Things are going well for the former tag team singles careers, with Morgan not only winning Money in the Bank, but also cashing it in that same night against the beaten down Ronda Rousey to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. And even though she would end up losing the title to the former champion in October 2022 at Extreme Rules, her reign was still enjoyable. She had great matches with the likes of Natalya, as well as Lacey Evans, as well as teaming with the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair to take on Carmella and Natalya. And she had that awesome contract signing segment with Shayna Baszler, with the Queen of Spades being put through the table. Whereas on the other side, Rhea was enjoying her time as a new member of the Judgment Day, antagonising the Mysterio family on several occasions. We all know how that turned out. As well as having a great feud with Beth Phoenix and Edge, and beating up Akira Tozawa. Poor Akira, what did he do? So next, we move on to the 2023 Royal Rumble. And this is where things get interesting. So, Royal Rumble 2023. Definitely a show we'll never forget. We had Cody Rhodes starting his journey to finish the story. We'll get there at some point. We had Sami Zayn turning on the Bloodline in what was an incredible moment. And we had the Eradicator Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble and punching a ticket to WrestleMania, which she started from the number 1 position as well. And who was entrant number 2? That's right, Liv Morgan. It was really fun to see the journey they both went on throughout the Rumble, from both of them dealing with Dana Brooks, to Rhea getting neckbreakered by Emma, to Liv getting pummeled by Bayley. And even the ending of the Rumble, with Asuka spraying Liv with her mist, and even then, Liv was nearly able to take down the Nightmare, with Rhea hanging by a thread. And when it comes to the final 2 in a Rumble, it always comes together down the line. Like Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker from the 2007 Royal Rumble, to rivalries at 2 separate WrestleManias, to Batista and John Cena from 2005's Royal Rumble to WrestleMania 26, to Randy Orton and Triple H from Royal Rumble 2009 to again WrestleMania 25. I just feel like Liv Morgan vs Rhea Ripley makes the most sense because of the story. And I know, a lot of people want to see Becky Lynch vs Rhea Ripley, the man against the Nightmare, the first woman to main event WrestleMania against the longest standing survivor in a Women's Royal Rumble match. And they both did get victories at last year's WrestleMania, with Rhea dethroning her nemesis in the Queen Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch alongside Lita and Trish Stratus taking down Damage Control. So it would be a big time matchup 1 year later on the grandest stage of them all. But again, the history of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, from being tag team partners to bitter rivals, and with the Eradicator taking out Liv on the July 24th edition of Raw, it adds even more fuel to the fire for Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble. I actually wouldn't mind if it was from the number 1 position, like Rhea's, so she can show that she's not just on the same level, but even further. And with her being sprayed by Asuka in the Rumble, it makes you wonder, what would have happened if that hadn't happened? Would Liv be champion right now and not Rhea? Also, it's interesting to mention that on the night Rhea won the title at WrestleMania, Liv Morgan lost her tag team championship match, so the parallels of one winning and one losing on the same night are still there. And don't forget Rhea did defeat her tag team partner Raquel Rodriguez. So again, Liv's motivation is right there. Also, I should mention that out of the 3 regular one-on-one matches they've had, Liv has won 1 and Rhea has won 2, so the odds are even more in Rhea's favour. But again, when it comes down to who should win on the night, it's a toss-up, because if you have Rhea win, you can continue her dominant reign as champion, with her then having back-to-back WrestleMania wins, and proving who the weak link in the team really was. But if you have Liv Morgan win, you can tell the story of an underdog, who never had a World Championship match at WrestleMania, who never main evented the grandest stage of them all, who took defeats, who took pain and punishment, but ultimately never gave up, who went toe-to-toe with Ronda Rousey and defeated her not once, but twice. You could say that there's a lot of similarities between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Both former SmackDown Women's Champions, both showed their skills in NXT, and years later, both were thrown together, but they made it work. They grabbed the attention of the audience through their infectious personalities and their unique looks. And on the grandest stage of them all, they should do it one more time, but this time as champion and challenger, and as friends turned enemies. And yes, I know Liv is currently injured, but with the Royal Rumble a few weeks away, you never say never. So yeah guys, that'll be it for today, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like the idea of Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley? Or would you rather see big time Bex against the Nightmare? Let me know in the comments below, subscribe, and more importantly, take care.